So here we have our Bobcat windscreen, and we have a Snow Leopard windscreen. One of the things that we do that I don't think any other manufacturer does is we offer our windscreens in aluminum, stainless steel, and titanium. Now, that being said, stainless steel it's been so good and popular that aluminum is just not many people are buying aluminum because the stainless steel is so nice. And so, but we're one of the only people that ever offer three materials, and I think we're one of the few that offer stainless steel. The key thing about a windscreen is the windscreen is the most fragile component of your cooking system. So the number one goal in FlatCatGear was to protect your gear. So all our gear is designed such that it's protected by the pot or the mug. We simply roll up, placed in your pot or mug for the ultimate protection. The Bobcat system is extra nice because we have snaps. We actually can adjust it a little bit wider for when you're using a canister stove and want it to snow melt. But we also snap it closed and it fits easily inside the pot. So protection of a windscreen is one of the primary importances of our system. Something else you'll notice about our windscreens are designed to keep the pot centered in the windscreen. And the reason why that's important is if you have windscreen around your pot or mug and it's off-centered, then most of the heat will flow up one side and you'll lose fuel efficiency. It's probably can best be seen on the Snow Leopard because we have those tabs all the way around. The tabs keep the mug centered, so that uniform gap provides even airflow. Another thing you may not notice is we have holes around the outside of our windscreens, and what this does is it slows down the rising air, so the air goes up instead of going straight up like if it were just a plain sheet. It goes up and then it has to go out the sides, and what that does is that slows down the airflow and keeps the heat transfer efficiency up. Another thing that we do with all our cooking systems is they all come with a heat shield, and the heat shield down here is probably the most underrated item in our cooking system. So the first thing that the heat shield does is it's a safety issue. Number one, it protects the environment. Now you can go to almost any picnic table in a national park and you'll see burn marks over the table because people are using their stoves and windscreens without a heat shield. And what happens is windscreens get hot. Here's a used Bobcat system, and you see that band there? That's a heat affected zone. The temperatures here can get in the neighborhood of 800 degrees. And so particularly with the aluminum windscreens, that heat transfers down, and if we're sitting on the picnic table, you just end up with a scorch mark around the table where that windscreen is touching. Okay. Now, another thing that the heat shield does, and this is really great, is if you're camping in wet or cold environments, it protects heat loss through the ground. The difference between having a heat shield and not having a heat shield in terms of boil time can be from 1 to 2 minutes. So the heat shield makes this little micro environment where everything's nice and warm and heats up fast. Now, the other thing the heat shield does is, and particularly if you're in soft ground, now picture this system here with 4 cups of water in it, sitting in the sand. What happens is there's so much weight and there's no surface area on this windscreen, and it pushes down into the sand. So what happens, the first thing it does is it changes your ground to pot distance, which changes the efficiency of your stove. The second thing it does, and particularly with the Bobcat system, you know, the vents that sit down on the bottom, the vents get choked off. And so a heat shield ensures that you get the proper ground to pot distance, and it gives you a uniform airflow, particularly in the Bobcat system. Now the Snow Leopard system has another trick, and people aren't quite aware of this, but we have diverters around the handle. And the whole purpose of that is to keep your handles cool. This will get so hot. This is a Snow Peak 700 mug. It does not come with insulated handles, and I can boil water here and pick it up by the handles and never get burned. So there's a bunch of things about these windscreens that may not seem obvious, but in the big picture, they're pretty special products. Oh, additionally, on the Bobcat Original, now they're all coming with a slot here for remote canisters. So come visit us at www.FlatCatGear.com.